The dust swirled around Angel's boots, a familiar dance on his worn ranch boots. He squinted at the sun, a fiery ball sinking low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Another long day was winding down, the kind that left a man's muscles aching and his spirit weary. He was checking fences, the endless perimeter of his vast property, a sprawling expanse of rolling hills and rugged canyons that had been in his family for generations. Each wire, each post, a testament to his family's enduring connection to this land. He knew every curve of the land, every stubborn patch of mesquite, every place where the wind whispered secrets through the sparse, hardy grasses. He thought he knew it all, every hidden hollow, every dry creek bed that would rage with water after a rare desert storm. His life was etched into this landscape, just as the dry riverbeds were etched into the earth. It was a life of hard work, early mornings and late nights, a life dictated by the sun and the seasons, a life that demanded resilience and a deep understanding of the natural world. He moved with the quiet confidence of a man who belonged here, who was as much a part of this land as the ancient gnarled junipers that clung to the rocky slopes. The air was dry and carried the scent of sagebrush and distant pine, a perfume of the wild. The silence was profound, broken only by the distant cry of a hawk or the rustle of a lizard darting across his path. He paused for a moment, taking in the immensity of it all, the sheer, untamed beauty that stretched out before him. This was his world, his responsibility, his legacy. Then he heard it, a faint whinny laced with pain. It wasn't the sound of a happy horse, content in its pasture, or a colt playfully nipping at its mother. This was different. This was a cry for help, raw and desperate. It cut through the vast silence of the land like a jagged shard of glass. Angel's seasoned ears, attuned to every subtle shift in the ranch's symphony of sounds, immediately recognized the distress in the call. It was the sound of an animal in deep trouble, a sound that resonated with a primal alarm. His practiced instinct, honed over decades of dealing with livestock and the unpredictable challenges of ranch life, kicked in. He knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that this was not a sound he could ignore. He spurred his own horse, a sturdy, dependable mare named Clementine, into a trot. Clementine, sensing the urgency in her rider's posture and the subtle shift in his weight, responded with immediate alacrity. Her hooves thundered against the dry earth, a rhythmic counterpoint to the anxious thumping of Angel's own heart. The sound of the distressed whinny grew louder, clearer, pulling him away from the usual paths, away from the well-worn routes he travelled daily. It led him deeper into a scrubby, overgrown gully, a place he rarely ventured into. This particular ravine was a tangle of thorny bushes, low-hanging, branches and treacherous footing, a natural barrier that most sensible creatures and most sensible ranchers avoided. It was a place where the land seemed to resist intrusion, a pocket of wildness that held its secrets close. He urged Clementine forward, her powerful muscles working to navigate the increasingly difficult terrain. The gully narrowed, the sun's rays struggling to penetrate the dense canopy of overgrown scrub oak and hardy desert brush that clawed at the sky. The air grew thicker, heavier, carrying the scent of dry earth and something else, a faint, musky odor that he couldn't quite place. He could hear the mare's labored breathing now, the frantic rhythm of her panic, echoing the growing unease in his own gut. And then he saw her, there, tangled in a thicket of vicious, thorny bushes, was a horse. She was a young mare, her coat the color of a stormy sky, a deep, rich gray that seemed to absorb the fading light. Her mane was long and unkempt, a wild cascade that framed a face etched with fear. Her eyes, large and dark, were wide with panic, reflecting the desperate struggle she was enduring. Her hind leg was caught fast, ensnared by the cruel barbed tendrils of a particularly aggressive species of thornbush. With every desperate attempt to free herself, the more she pulled, the tighter the thorns seemed to grip her, digging deeper into her flesh. The sight was heart-wrenching. Angel dismounted, his heart heavy with a familiar but unwelcome ache. He'd seen his share of farm accidents, of animals caught in unexpected perils. He'd witnessed the raw vulnerability of creatures trapped by circumstances beyond their control. But this felt different. This mare wasn't one of his. She wasn't a domesticated animal accustomed to the routines and confines of ranch life. She looked wild, almost feral. There was an untamed spirit in her posture, a defiant glint in her eyes, even amidst her terror. He could see the fine tremor running through her body, the instinctive fight or flight response battling with the physical reality of her entrapment. He approached slowly, his movements deliberate, his voice a low, soothing rumble. He murmured soft, reassuring words, the same words he'd used on frightened foals his whole life, on injured birds found by the roadside, on any creature in distress. "Easy now, girl. Easy. I'm here to help. Just hold still." The mare flinched at first, her breath coming in ragged gasps, her muscles tensing against his proximity. Her fear was a palpable force, a wall of raw emotion that emanated from her. But as he spoke, his voice calm and steady, her trembling seemed to ease, just a fraction. The frantic wildness in her eyes softened, replaced by a flicker of something akin to hesitant hope. She seemed to sense, on some primal level, that this human was not a threat, but a potential savior. It took time. Patience, Angel knew, was a rancher's greatest virtue, a tool as essential as a good rope or arhu, sharp knife. And he possessed an abundance of it. He worked carefully, methodically, his large calloused hands surprisingly gentle as he began to snip away at the thorns with his trusty pocket knife. The metal blade glinted in the dimming light as it sliced through the tough, woody stems. Each snip was precise, calculated to sever the offending branches without causing further injury to the mare. The mare would inevitably shift, a sudden movement born of pain or lingering fear, and he'd pause, waiting patiently for her to settle. Again, before resuming his delicate work, he felt the rough texture of her coat beneath his fingertips, the heat radiating from her skin, a testament to her fear and exertion. He could feel the frantic thrum of her frightened heart beneath his hand, a rapid, erratic beat that mirrored the turmoil within him. He could feel her desperation, a raw, primal fear that resonated deep within his own chest. He understood, with a clarity that chilled him, that if he rushed, if he made a single mistake, he could easily make it worse, cause a debilitating injury that could cripple her for life. This was not a quick fix. This was a delicate, painstaking process that demanded his complete focus and unwavering care. Finally, with a last careful snip that severed the thickest, most deeply embedded thorn, the mare was free. She stumbled forward, her injured leg giving way beneath her, a sharp intake of breath betraying the intense pain she felt. She tried to stand, but her leg buckled, and she sank back to the ground with a soft groan. Angel watched her, his brow furrowed with deep concern. He knelt beside her, his gaze sweeping over her form, assessing the damage. He didn't have veterinary supplies with him, not out here in the middle of nowhere, and she was far too hurt to travel back to the ranch on her own. The thought of leaving her here, alone and injured, in this wild, unforgiving place, was unthinkable. He couldn't just leave her. He had to help her, truly help her. He gently touched her flank, the fur surprisingly soft and fine, against his calloused palm, despite its disheveled state. He made a decision right then and there, a silent vow spoken only to himself and the frightened animal. Whatever it took, he would see this creature through her ordeal. He would find a way to get her back to his ranch, to the safety and care of his barn. This was more than just a stray. This was a life that needed saving, and he was the one who had found her. He offered her water from his canteen, the metal cool against his fingers. The mare lowered her head, her muzzle brushing against the opening, and drank greedily, the sound of her slurping echoing in the quiet gully. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated need, a simple act that spoke volumes about her vulnerability. As she drank, Angel continued to speak in soft tones, his voice a low murmur of comfort, a steady presence in her chaotic world. He watched the water level in the canteen drop, a small but significant act of shared survival. He knew that hydration was crucial, especially for an animal that had been through such distress. When she finished, she lifted her head, droplets of water clinging to her muzzle. She shook her head gently, a motion that seemed to ease some of the tension in her neck and shoulders. Then, with a soft nicker, a sound that was more breath than noise, she turned her head and looked towards the north. It wasn't a casual glance. It was a deliberate, focused look, her intelligent eyes fixed on a point beyond the gully, beyond the familiar contours of the land Angel knew so well. The direction she indicated seemed impossibly remote, leading past rugged hills that were known for their treacherous terrain, areas that were difficult to navigate even on horseback. It pointed towards a part of his property that was largely unexplored, a wilder, more untamed frontier. She took a tentative step, then another, favoring her injured leg with every movement. Her gait was uneven, a clear indicator of the pain she was enduring, but her determination was evident. She looked back at Angel, her gaze direct and questioning. It was as if she was asking him to follow, to trust her lead. There was no aggression in her posture, no fear directed at him now. Instead, there was a quiet invitation, a silent plea. It was as if she was saying, "This way! Come with me!" He recognized that look in her eyes, the unspoken communication that often passed between humans and animals who shared a deep, instinctual bond. She wasn't just asking for help, she was offering something in return, a silent promise of guidance, a connection forged in shared vulnerability. Angel hesitated for only a moment, the weight of the decision settling upon him. He knew this land like the back of his hand, or so he thought. He'd ridden these hills and valleys for 50 years, since he was a boy barely tall enough to see over Clementine's back. He knew every creek bed, every rocky outcrop, every hidden spring that offered a lifeline in the dry seasons. But the direction this mare was heading, it was off the map, quite literally. It led into a wild, unexplored part of his property, a sector even his most experienced ranch hands tended to avoid. Old stories, whispers passed down through generations were associated with that area. Tales of unpredictable weather, of sudden rockfalls, of unexplained disappearances, things best left undisturbed, the elders used to say. But the mare nudged him again, a gentle pressure from her forehead against his arm. Her insistence was undeniable, a soft but persistent urging. There was a profound trust in her gaze now, a trust that spoke volumes more than any words could. She wasn't just a stray animal he had rescued. She was a creature with a purpose, a creature that had chosen him, in a way, to be her guide. He looked at her, at the quiet strength in her stance despite her injury, and he knew he couldn't refuse. His curiosity, a lifelong companion, now mingled with a sense of responsibility and an undeniable pull towards the unknown. He decided right then and there he would follow her. He mounted Clementine, the familiar leather creaking softly beneath him. He gave Clementine a gentle pat on the neck, a silent signal to proceed. The mare, still favoring her injured leg, turned and began to move northward, her pace slow but steady. Angel followed, keeping a respectful distance, observing her every movement. She navigated the rough ground with an instinct he couldn't fathom, her injured leg a testament to the challenges she faced, yet her direction remained unwavering. It was as if she possessed an innate internal compass, guiding her through the increasingly rugged landscape. He watched her closely, noting the deliberate care she took with each step, the subtle shifts in her weight as she compensated for her pain. It was evident she knew exactly where she was going, her purpose singular and unwavering. He found himself wondering what drew her in this direction. Was she heading for a hidden water source, a secluded place where she could rest undisturbed, away from prying eyes and potential dangers? Or was there something more, something that drew her to this remote, almost forgotten corner of his land? As they continued deeper into this wild, uncharted territory, the landscape began to change in a way that made Angel's eyes widen in disbelief. The familiar rugged terrain, characterized by sun-baked earth, sparse scrub, and the hardy desert grasses, began to soften. The hardy vegetation gave way to a surprising lushness. Vibrant green growth, a startling contrast to the arid surroundings, began to appear. Ancient trees, their branches thick and gnarled like the arthritic fingers of giants, started to emerge from the earth, their leaves a deep, verdant hue. These trees cast long, dappled shadows that danced on the ground, creating an atmosphere of mystery and enchantment. The air itself underwent a transformation. It grew cooler, carrying a faint but distinct scent of damp earth, of rich, fertile soil, and the sweet perfume of blooming wildflowers. This was a fragrance that had absolutely no business being present in this high desert country, a place known for its dryness and its scarcity of water. It was a stark, beautiful, and utterly inexplicable contrast to the parched landscape he knew intimately. He felt a prickle of unease creep up his spine, a growing sense of wonder that bordered on awe. This was not the land he knew. This was something else entirely, something beyond his comprehension. The mare, with a final decisive movement that seemed to gather all her remaining strength, pushed through a dense curtain of thick, trailing vines. The vines parted like a living door, revealing an opening behind them. It wasn't a cave in the traditional sense, not a gaping maw in the rock face. It was more like a natural doorway, intricately carved, into the sheer rock face by the patient hand of time and water, almost perfectly hidden from view by the verdant veil of foliage. The entrance was narrow, so narrow that the mare had to turn sideways, squeezing through with deliberate care, her powerful shoulders brushing against the cool stone. Angel dismounted from Clementine, carefully tethering her to a sturdy ancient-looking tree, whose roots seemed to grip the very heart of the rock. He murmured a promise to her, a reassurance that he would return. And then, heart-pounding with a mixture of trepidation and irresistible curiosity, he followed the mare on foot. The air inside the passage was cool and still, a stark departure from the heat outside. It carried a faint, earthy scent, reminiscent of deep soil and underground springs. He could see a dim light filtering in from somewhere further ahead, a promise of something beyond the confines of the narrow tunnel. The mare moved with an undeniable sense of purpose, her gait still uneven, but her spirit seemed visibly lifted, buoyed by the sanctuary she had found. She navigated the slightly sloped passage with an ease that suggested familiarity. Angel followed close behind, his senses on high alert, every nerve tingling with anticipation. He emerged from the narrow passage, and the sight that greeted him stole his breath, literally catching it in his throat. It was a valley, a hidden, impossibly beautiful valley, unlike anything he had ever seen or even imagined in his wildest dreams. Sunlight streamed down from an unseen opening high above, illuminating a hidden world with a soft, ethereal glow. Towering trees, their leaves an impossible vibrant green, formed a dense canopy overhead, filtering the light into gentle shimmering rays that painted the valley floor in a mosaic of light and shadow. Waterfalls, clear and pure, cascaded down moss-covered cliffs on either side of the valley, their gentle roar a constant soothing melody. The mist rising from the falls created a perpetual rainbow that shimmered and danced in the air, a celestial archway over this sacred paradise. The ground was not the dry, cracked earth he was accustomed to, but a soft carpet of lush, emerald green grass, dotted with wildflowers in a riot of breathtaking colours. Brilliant reds, deep blues, vibrant yellows, and soft purples. It was a living tapestry woven by nature's most skilled and generous hand. The air was alive with a symphony of gentle sounds, the constant soothing murmur of the waterfalls, the cheerful chirping of unseen birds hidden amongst the dense foliage, and the soft, industrious hum of insects going about their vital work. It was a place of profound peace, a true sanctuary, miraculously hidden from the harsh, demanding realities of the outside world. It felt ancient, untouched, a pocket of pristine beauty preserved against the ravages of time and the intrusions of humanity. The injured mare, sensing the safety and tranquility of this extraordinary place, moved with renewed purpose. She found a patch of soft, inviting grass beside a crystal-clear stream, its water so pure it seemed to capture and reflect the sky above. With a soft sigh, a sound of utter contentment and relief, she lay down, her body finally at ease. Angel stood frozen, his eyes wide, his mind struggling to comprehend the sheer beauty and the profound impossibility of it all. This wasn't just a hidden glade or a well-watered ravine. It was a lost world, a pristine Eden. He, Angel, a simple rancher who thought he knew his land better than anyone, had stumbled upon a miracle. This place defied logic, defied everything he understood about the geography and ecology of his property. It was a secret whispered by the earth itself, a gift of unimaginable value. He had spent his life on this land, thought he knew its every secret, its every hidden corner. Yet here, just beyond the familiar rugged hills he traversed daily, lay this breathtaking, unbelievable paradise. He cautiously approached the stream, the water cool and invigorating against his skin as he dipped his hands in. It felt alive, pure, holding a vitality he had never experienced before. He looked around, absorbing the alien yet wondrous flora, the sheer, unblemished perfection of the place. He had found a miracle, a testament to the enduring power and mystery of nature. Years passed. Angel never saw Willow again, but the memory of her and the secret she had revealed remained etched into his soul. He would often ride the perimeter of his ranch, his gaze drifting towards the rugged northern hills, a sense of quiet reverence guiding his path. He never spoke of the valley, not to Martha, not to his friends, not to anyone. It remained his secret, a silent testament to the wild, untamed beauty that still existed in the world, a beauty revealed to him by a creature in need. He continued to live his life as a rancher, his days filled with the familiar, comforting rhythm of seasons and honest work. His hands remained calloused, his spirit resilient, but a part of him, a significant part, always resided in that hidden valley, a place of profound wonder and enduring peace that had forever altered his perspective on life and the land he inhabited. He understood, with a clarity that deepened with each passing year, that sometimes the greatest gifts come in the most unexpected packages. Sometimes the most profound discoveries are not sought after, but are guided by the most unlikely of creatures, prompted by a moment of pure, unadulterated need. An injured horse, a desperate whinny echoing through the silence, a path leading off the beaten track. These simple, seemingly insignificant events had led him to a place of impossible beauty, a sanctuary hidden from the world, a true miracle. It served as a constant, gentle reminder that even in the most familiar landscapes, in the places we think we know intimately, there are still wonders waiting to be found, secrets, waiting to be revealed, if only we are open enough to follow where they lead, to listen to the whispers of the wild. His life, he knew, was richer, his spirit deeper, for that singular, life-altering encounter with Willow and her hidden home. He would forever be grateful to the storm-grey mare who had led him not to danger or despair, but to tears of pure awe and profound gratitude. The memory of the hidden valley, its vibrant colours and its tranquil waters, was a beacon within him, a source of enduring wonder and quiet joy. And so Angel carried on, a quiet guardian of a secret world. He understood, with the wisdom of his years and the humility of his discovery, that some things were meant to remain wild, sacred, and hidden. The untamed beauty of the valley, the silent trust of Willow, were treasures that resided not in possession or ownership, but in careful protection and deep respect. His days were filled with the practical, demanding realities of ranching, mending fences, tending to livestock, preparing for the changing seasons. But his nights, in the quiet hours before dawn, were often spent dreaming of cascading waterfalls, of sun-dappled meadows bursting with wildflowers, of the silent, knowing gaze of a storm-grey mare. He had found more than just a hidden valley. He had found a deeper connection to the earth, a profound appreciation for the enduring mysteries that lay just beyond the horizon, waiting patiently for the right moment and the right guide to be revealed. It was a lesson etched not in stone, but in the very fabric of his being. Now, think about it. How many of us walk past wonders every single day, oblivious to the magic hidden just out of sight, just beyond the ordinary? What secret places, what unexpected moments of beauty and connection might be waiting in your own backyard, or just over the next hill, or perhaps even in the quiet companionship of an animal that crosses your path? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had an experience that revealed a hidden wonder, or a moment where an animal guided you in an unexpected way? Share your stories and any similar experiences you might have had in the comments section below. Your contributions help build a community of wonder and shared discovery. And if this incredible story touched your heart or sparked your sense of wonder about the hidden corners of our world and the incredible bonds we share with animals, please consider giving this video a like. Your likes signal to YouTube that this is a story worth sharing, helping it reach more people who might need a reminder of the magic that exists around us. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales of discovery, resilience, and the profound connections that shape our lives. By subscribing, you'll be notified every time we upload a new video, ensuring you don't miss out on future journeys into the extraordinary. Your support is what allows us to continue uncovering and sharing these remarkable stories with the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey.